Welcome back, all. Today we're gonna go ahead and introduce Bootstrap. So, what is Bootstrap? Why do we use it? And what on earth do we need it for? So, first of all, Bootstrap is a CSS and JavaScript framework for styling. It is very useful because it saves you a lot of work. So you don't need to create your own styles. You can use Bootstrap styles and you can effectively make your sites look a lot better in a very short amount of time and without a lot of work. Here, let me just open it up. So this is how the site will look like. This is the code that's typed in and that you can have a look at now. So as you can see, this part looks completely different. This has been moved and the colors are way different as well. So how do we achieve this? Well, as I said, we use Bootstrap. And if you just, well, I've already opened it up, but if you just use your favorite search engine and type in Bootstrap and press enter, the very first site will be where you want to go. And then you click on getting started. And you have these three links here. So the very first one is for CSS, this is for an optional theme, and this is for JavaScript. Now, not all JavaScript part will not really work well with Angular 2, as Angular 2 is very new and not all things have been developed and made to work properly. So I'm not saying that it won't work at all, but you will definitely encounter problems at this point in time until the code has been written out, optimized, and made to fit Angular 2. Anyway, we will be utilizing this one here. So just go ahead and copy it. It says here the folks over at Max CDN generously provide the CDN support for Bootstrap CSS and JavaScript. Just use these Bootstrap CDN links. So a lot of thanks to the Max CDN. And if you don't know what a CDN is, the fact that you're watching this tutorial, the fact that you're watching this course, I would guess that you've heard about CDN, but that you're not really familiar with what that is or how that works. Well, CDN stands for Content Delivery Network, and it basically what it does basically is serves content from the servers that are closest to the client's request. So if you have a client, for example, who is in Canada and your site is being hosted in somewhere in Africa, let's say, the content to that client, portion of your site's content will be served from US, for example, which is closer to the source location of the client's request. And why would we need to do this? Well, in order to make our sites load faster. You might think that, I mean, basically you're getting a millisecond per an image somewhere or per style somewhere, something like that. But a millisecond there, a millisecond here, it adds up to a lot. And you might not think that it's important, but believe me, you want your site to work as fast as possible. You don't want it to be slow at all. That is a huge deal breaker for a lot of people who visit websites. If the site loads in a slow fashion, if it takes a while, and if it takes a while I mean, if you have a website where the content loads first and then you have a huge lag behind, for example, a paragraph loads, but then you have a lag for the styling for the paragraph to load. So that's a huge deal breaker. What you want is for it to be practically instantaneous, and you achieve that by serving the content from the locations closest to the client's requests. Anyway, that is why we're using the CDN to make our site work faster. It's technically possible to download the source code of Bootstrap. In fact, you have it up here, download source, and you can, well, download Bootstrap actually. This includes some documentation as well, and you can create your own content delivery network. That is also technically doable, but not really an easy thing to do, believe me. So you go ahead and copy this, and you go into the index.html. Let me just find it, index.html, and you basically just paste it here. So just imagine like it wasn't there. I just deleted it, and you can press Control V to paste it in there. You press Control S to save. And that's all you really need to do in order to plug in Bootstrap. It's that easy. No complications needed. It's super easy to do that. Now, the next thing that you need to do is go into the index file, to the HTML file, my apologies. So app component.html. And now here we're going to start playing around and utilizing things from Bootstrap. All right. There was one more thing that I forgot, that I neglected to mention, and that is that Angular 2 has some styles of its own. So go into the style CSS, and you will see a lot of things here. This doesn't work. You will see a lot of styles here. Well, not a lot, but you will see a lot of content here. And what I want you to do is just press Control A and delete everything like I've deleted it. I want your styles.css file to be empty, void. There should be nothing in it. It should be completely empty. And then you can go to the app component.html file. Now here in this particular file, you will first off add div class container. Why do we need this container? Well, we will use a container to mark the contents of our component for Bootstrap. We have two types of containers. You have container fluid and container. Container fluid width is 100% of the screen size, no matter the size of the screen. So you can have, for example, a 24-inch screen or a 32-inch screen, or you can have a mobile device, which is maybe max 6 inches, something like that. For phones, or you can have a tablet, which is maybe 9 inches. It will be 100% of that screen size, no matter which screen it is. And container has a width with space to the right and left, but both are responsive, like pretty much everything is in Bootstrap. So what I mean by this is that with container alone, you will have this space to the left and this empty space to the right, and that is what I've decided to use. If you just type in container dash fluid and save this, you can go back to Mozilla and wait for it to load. So now you can see that the entirety of the screen's width has been occupied. You can use both, really, there are no obstacles. I've just decided to opt for the container. I'm just going to go ahead and delete this and save. So load. Yep, there we go. So now we have spaces on the right and left side. So now we can go down below, and immediately we're plugging in another class from Bootstrap, which is row. Now this part of the page you do not see immediately, but if we just do this, delete, delete, there you go. Now you can see it. It says no accounts yet. Please add it. Within this is a class row. Basically, you have a row. I will explain this in more detail down below. But for the time being, I would like to explain this class here. It says alert. You have one alert, and then you have another one which says alert info. And if I basically just go ahead and press Control X to cut it. Oops. Oops, that's not what I want to do. If I just press Control X to save it again and open up Firefox, press delete and delete, you will see that the alert box is no longer there. The alert box is no longer present. So we would like that alert box there very much. Yes, thank you. So now when the alert box is present, you can immediately see the effect. And there we go, you have the alert box. In our case, it's blue. We didn't define the color. That is the predefined color of the current theme. The colors between themes may differ. So anyway, let's go down. Let's go further down below. So you have a div class row again, and within this row we're gonna have colons. Now before we get into the code here, let's go over to the Bootstrap website, scroll back up and click on CSS. load. Yes, thank you very much. And then click on grid system in the, well, let me just scroll down. It's right here, second one from the top. It's grid system. I would strongly advise you to read through this. It says Bootstrap includes a responsive mobile first fluid grid system that appropriately scales up to 12 columns. So that's something that you need to keep in mind. It's always going to be 12. And there we go. This is an example. So you have a div class row, and then you have a colon md1, and then you have these md4, etc. I can't really find a proper example that I wanted to use, but hey, we can use this one here. Look, so you have a class row, and this creates a row. So for this is xx xs. We don't need that one. We need md. Okay, you know what? Let's just use this one, the first one. That seems like the simplest one to use. So you have a class row, and you see here it says class call md1. So for md1, you're gonna have in one row you're gonna have 12 colons, and for MD8 and MD4, if you place them up like this, so if you place MD1, you can have up to 12 of them in one row. Is this 12? It is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Yep. So you can have 12 of them, and all 12 of them will be displayed in a single row like this. But if you state like it's 8 and 4, like they have stated down below, it says row and then colon MD8 and colon MD4, it's going to be like this. So colon MD8 and colon MD4, and you can see that they differ in width. So what's going on here? Well, 12 divided by 1 is 12. Therefore, in terms of width, you can have all 12 of them displayed in a single row. But 12 divided by 8 is basically 8. So you will have this, and the remainder is 4. So you can have another colon MD, so you can squeeze another colon MD4. So as long as the total number is 12, you can squeeze them in here. And 12 divided by 4 is 3, so you can definitely, if you want to have 3 columns in a single row, they need to be MD4 so that they can fit into a single row. So you have colon MD4, colon MD4, and colon MD4. You have 3 of them, and you can see that they are written out here, one below the other. So you can have 3 of them there. If you use 6, 12 divided by 6 is 2. So in terms of width, you can only have 2 in a single row. Okay, so now that's sorted out, we have stated that our colon will be MD12. 12 divided by 12 is 1, hence we can only squeeze in 1 colon per row, and within that colon we're going to have all of our info for a single account. If you go back to the site and use our own website, let's just reload it. There you go. So this is a row and a colon. So here you have one single colon. It is MD12, so you can only have one, you cannot have two. And then again, we go into MD12. Another one is displayed right below it. So this is, you have a row here, and and effectively it belongs to a row. So this class, colon MD12, belongs to this class row, so to say. And since it's 12, you can only have 1 colon per an account that will be displayed on the screen in one row. Okay, in addition to the Bootstrap class, call MD-12, we also have our own, which is ACC, and we have app-component.css, where we have actually plugged in some of our own styling. We have added it. So in addition to actually using the Bootstrap styles, you can use some customization options such as these without any problems. So you can go back to the HTML. Anyway, if we scroll down a little bit, I just want to explain basically these do things, and then we're gonna cut the tutorial because I am running a little bit short on time. You have here strong, and then we've typed in class lead. This is balance colon. So if you go back to the site, it's referring to this part here, balance colon, then 567. Now this is just enlarging the the number here in regard to balance. So if I just go ahead and press Control X here and save this, you can see that 567 is now a lot smaller. It's still bold, but it's a lot smaller. So we would like to enlarge that. And if I press Control Save again to save it, 567 has been enlarged here. No problems. Okay, going down below, we again have another row, and this is for buttons. So we've stated that it's going to be colon MD3, so we can squeeze 3 colons there, but we don't really actually have 3 colons. We've just we're just gonna have basically 2 buttons, one next to another. And as you can see here, we have delete and select. If I can basically delete this and then Control S to save. Yep, you can see that the delete here is completely different now from the style for the select button. So we're gonna leave that as it is. We've just added styling from the BTN class and BTN-danger. Now BTN-danger and BTN-primary will signify the colors of the buttons. Let's just reload. Or did I save it? Control S. Okay, I'll just wait for it to restart. Okay, so the BTN-danger, basically that just means that the button will be red, and primary that it will be blue within this theme. With some other theme, you might have different colors, but here in this particular theme, it's going to be red and blue. We're just specifying the colors and nothing else pretty much with this BTN-danger and BTN-primary. We haven't changed the logic of the site at all. The only thing that we have changed is the styling that is being applied. So now we're going to go ahead and move on to the lower part of this HTML code, but that we're going to do in the follow-up tutorial as I am in the 17th minute. At the 17-minute mark. The videos need to be shorter than 20, and I don't think that you enjoyed the longer ones anyway.